Hello everyone, it's me Woki, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. And today, we're going to be talking about the Ordeal Call New Duties Unlocked Part 4 campaign. That's going to be today's video. I hope you like it. If you do, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And let's begin. So this will go from the 4th to the 19th, and very similar to the other three parts that we've had, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, they have similar stuff in it. But let's quickly go over this before we could talk about the banner that comes with it. So yeah, new free quests and a high difficulty quest are going to be added. 2 free quests and a high difficulty one, and you should be able to challenge them as soon as this campaign is added on the 4th, and it's permanently added as well. If you have not reached the Bleached Earth and you're wondering how do I get there, clear Prologue Ordeal Call 0. You can get that through the story itself. And if you want to rush it, don't do the pseudo singularities or chapter 5.5 or 6.5. It's always really funny to me that you can skip chapter 6.5, but it is what it is. Some new extra missions are going to be added that will give you some more Sand of Starlight, Torch of Nova, and Torch of the Morning Star, and similar to the previous ones added. They're related to getting them to Final Ascension and then also getting servants to Bond level 6. These will be added on the 4th. Raise 235 servants of any class to Final Ascension, and that'll give you the Sand of Starlights, and then it increases in the increments of 5, so 240, 245, 250. Completing all 4 missions will give you a Torch of Nova, some 200 in total Sand of Starlight, and a Torch of the Morning Star. And then for Bond level 6, it's 75 servants to reach Bond level 6, and then 80, 85, and then 90. Completing all 4 of the missions will give you 200 Sand of Starlight, a Torch of Nova, and a Torch of the Morning Star. With it being Torch of the Sand of Starlight, Torch of Morning Star, and then Torch of Nova, and then it going like that back and forth usually. And if you've already done that, you just get to claim them, no problem, just easy. Some missions are going to be added that will involve quests on the Bleached Earth that you can do for a limited time. If you complete all of them, you'll get 6 Synced Quartz, 25 5 EXP, 10 Stargazer's Teapots, Sand of Starlight, and 100 Sand of Starlight. The mission period goes from the 4th to the 11th, but the claimability is from the 4th to the 18th, and the teapots last from the 4th to the 18th as well. The missions themselves are challenge any high difficulty quest on the Bleached Earth 1 time, complete any free quests on the Bleached Earth 1 time, 3 times, 6 times, and then 9 times. With the high difficulty quest on the Bleached Earth, you only have to challenge it and you don't have to actually complete it. So even if you just go into the mission, start the fight, and then back out of it, the mission will have been completed. So very easy to do. And yep, easy enough to do. It's also very similar to the ones we've had previously. So main quest progress missions are also added to the master missions. So you'll get a total of 9 Sync Quartz for doing all these. The mission period for this is from the 4th to the 19th, and then the claimability period goes until the 26th of November. The missions that are added are complete 1 main quest progress known in Part 1 and Part 2 Ordeal Call 1, and this goes all the way up to doing it 9 times, so there's 9 missions in total. Every time you clear 1, you get another Sync Quartz, and if you already have cleared all the main quest in Part 1 and Part 2, then you'll just automatically get all these, and no big deal on that one. 1/2 AP cost for free quests on the Bleached Earth for a limited time. This will go from the 4th to the 18th, and the AP cost will be halved, but the storm pods you use are going to be the same regardless of anything. 1/4 AP cost for main quest in Part 1 and Part 2 through Chapter 7 for a limited time. The campaign period on this goes from the 4th to the 18th, with the things that are eligible are main quest Part 1, Singularity F through Singularity to the Final Singularity, and then Part 2, which is Chapter 1 through Chapter 7. And then the note here, as always, Part 2, Chapter 5.5, which is Hainkyo, and 6.5, which is Trom, and Pseudo-Singularities and main interludes don't count for this. Someone asked me, and I always keep track of it, have we ever gotten a single thing for Trom being discounted? And now I'm not sure if there ever has been, but now I'm keeping super close attention to see when Trom is finally being announced for it. The Leyline Stone will return, so you'll be able to get 3 Leyline Stones from just logging in, which is simple enough. These will last from the 4th to the 18th. I mean, the login and get them is from the 4th to the 18th. These will be eligible in all quests. The eligible quests are all main quests, Part 1 and Part 5. Part 5. Thinking of JoJo here. Part 2, Pseudo-Singularities 1 through 4, Chapter 5.5, Chapter 6.5. Ordeal Call 1, Zero Compass, Inner Domain, Paper Moon will also be eligible. And then the Leyline Stone usage goes from the 4th to the 19th. And then they disappear and go away. In the Da Vinci shop, you'll also be able to buy a stack of 10 of them for 10 mana prisms, and these are exchangeable from the 4th to the 18th, and they will last until the 19th. And that is, again, the very basic rundown of what this campaign is. Like I said, this is the 4th one of these that we gone in. They're very easy to kind of talk about. The only thing that I ever have difficulty with is fixing my wording to make it sound as nice as I can, because sometimes my mouth, it'd be making weird sounds. Anyway, let's talk about the banner now. So, the Ordeal Call New Duties Unlocked Part 4 Pickup Summon will feature the following servants. Arjuna Alter, who is limited, Asclepius, which is not how you say his name, but that's how I like to say his name, is story locked. The permanent units are Janako, who's a 5-star, Lakshmibai, who's a 4-star, and William Tell, who's a 3-star. And then if you've completed Lost Belt 4, you have the ability to get on Raid Up Family Portrait, but you have to have cleared Lost Belt 4, otherwise it doesn't show up, likely because they don't want to accidentally spoil something if you read the text within the CE or something. That's what I assume. They don't say that's the reason why, I'm just making a lot of assumptions here. So this is how the banner breakdowns are going to look. So Arjuna Alter starts on the 4th, and then Lakshmibai, and it's Asclepius. And then on the 5th is going to be Janako, Lakshmibai, and William Tell. And that's the basicness of this. So I'm going to have to go to the other site now and do a cut. And after a cut, here we are. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Arjuna Alter as the main thing to talk about here, because he is the reason most people are going to be summoning for him. Unless you want one of the other two, it's very unlikely that you'd be going for more Lakshmibai copies because she is not limited. And for Asclepius, he is story locked, so it actually is, if you're a big fan of him, it is good to get coins of him while he's attached to a really good limited unit, but that's a very limited subset of people. I always give a quick opinion about them, about how I feel about them, and stuff like that, just before we go into Arjuna Alter, so here it is. For Asclepius, I really do like him. I think he's a solid unit. Some of the problems I have with him are just that because he is limited, it's hard to get additional MP copies for him, and that's tied to getting his guts stronger. And right now, we have to wait for Anniversary to get his strengthening, so right now, if you want to use him for looping, which he can help with, it's better to use Zufu. Because she gives 30% to charge and gives an additional, she gives NP gain, and she also gives arts buff on top of everything. And he gets the arts buff after he gets a strengthening in the Anniversary, so we have to wait for that. But I still really like him. I think he's neat, and I still use him from time to time. For Lakshmibai, she is an AoE quick unit that unfortunately does not have an NP charge, which means that it's a little bit tough to use her because there's not a lot of hits on her NP. There's only 4. She can be used as like a pseudo support, so if you want to still use her, you can try and use her for that, but otherwise you're going to have a little bit of a tough time grinding her with quick, unless you have, I guess, a lot of copies and a lot of investment into her, so she can deal as much damage as she can on the first hit, but you'll still likely get really hurt by the fact that she does not have an NP charger, and she has additional hits. But if you want to try finding other ways for her, you're going to have to be a little bit smarter. So that's them real quick. And now let's talk about the main man. Here we have Arjuna Alter. Arjuna Alter, he's limited, he's a berserker. He has 1 quick, 1 arts, 3 buster, 4 hits on quick, 2 hits on arts, 4 hits on buster, 4 hits on extra. His active skills are Anti-Evil Unique EX, increases on attack for 3 turns, increases on damage against enemies with debuffs for 3 turns, except unremovable debuff. 30% to attack and 50% to damage against debuffs, and then this is on a cooldown of 5. On his second skill, it is Clairvoyance Transcendental EX, increases on critical star absorption of buster cards for 3 turns, and they charges on NP gauge. 6,000 buster absorption and a 30% NP charger on a cooldown of 5. His third skill is the Lamplight of the Soul EX, grants self-gut status for 1 time, 3 turns, recovers own HP every turn for 3 turns, 2,000 HP is healed when Guts triggers, and then his HP regen is 2,000, and this is on a cooldown of 7. His passive skills are Magus Enhancement EX and Divinity EX. His third skill is an Anti-Archer Critical Attack Chance Resistance, because trust no one, not even yourself. And his Noble Phantasm is the Mahaprala, Revolving sword that adjudicates reoccurring destruction. Rank EX, anti-world, hits 5 times, it's buster, it deals damage to all enemies, and then at MP level 1, it deals 300% damage, and if you get them all the way to MP level 5, it's 500%. And for overcharge, it reduces their buster resistance for 3 turns, which activates first, and then on charge level 1, it's 20% down to buster resistance, and if you get them all the way to the final charge level, it's 60%. He has 2 outfits, which are Student Council President Arjuna, and then Student Council President Arjuna, this time with glasses. Yes, you do have to pay for both of them. So silly. They should have just made this one if all they were changing was glasses, but whatever. Sometimes FGO is FGO. And his Bond CE is the Sculpted Object, and when equipped to Arjuna Alter, it grants self-invincibility for 3 attacks, and then increases MP damage by 30%. And that is a quick overview of Arjuna Alter. So how is he? Well, unsurprising to hear, he is absolutely amazing. I know it's funny because when you look through his kit, it's so simple, but the way I like to think of it is sometimes the simplest effects, you don't need a lot of text when you're just that good. For example, Pot of Greed from Yu-Gi-Oh! Draw 2 cards, everyone understands what that means, everyone understands that that's broken and why it needs to be banned, and that's how I kind of view Arjuna Alter in that kind of sense. And I think of terms in terms of how close are you to Pot of Greed. But yeah, no, he's fantastic. The third skill, being a Guts, is pretty nice if you're ever in a challenge quest that you care that he might potentially die and you're not using Merlin or something like that to keep him alive. That'll be a nice little handy tool to have while you quickly try and kill the enemy down with pure buster damage. If you're trying to hit with AoE, for looping, he's fantastic at looping because both of his skills are on cooldown of 5, the ones that give him buffs, which is the first skill and the second skill. So you're able to get them back on turn 2, but obviously you want to wait with the third skill because you want to use this on the final turn. If you don't know how buster looping works, it goes, you need 2 Koyanskaya of lights and then Oberon. The Koyanskaya of lights, when they give a unit their charge, it lowers their cooldowns by 2, so it will lower it by 4. On the final turn, you want to make sure you have an MP charger that can give you 30%, so that when you use it on turn 3, with Oberon, who gives 70%, you're able to kind of go all out and do a buttload of damage. And with Oberon being buster focus, it means you'll also get a bonus damage from increasing the buster damage through that way. So very good. He's very effective at it. He's amazing at it. The fact that he's able to do more bonus with debuffs is also really nice because his Noble Phantasm applies a debuff that also helps increase the damage he does with buster stuff. Really good. The fact that they didn't want to give him any kind of effect on his buster, nothing like deal 150% bonus to star and stuff like that. He doesn't do any of that. He just does pure, unadulterated damage. That's all you really need. If you're going against someone, a bunch of enemies, you hit them with the AoE. If you're going against a single enemy, you hit them with the AoE, and then you hit them with your single target big ass crits, because they're all your buster cards are going to be able to get those star absorptions, because they'll be getting a fuck ton of absorption from it. Very simple unit to use. You just point them at something and then you kill. If you want to talk negatives, I guess it's not really negative. I just think that eventually over time they have released more units that are able to put. In the early days when he came out, no one could really match his damage. Now, under certain circumstances, some units can do more damage as long as the stars are correctly aligned. For example, Raiko, another fantastic AoE buster unit. If the specific requisites for her skills are met, she's able to outdamage Arjuna, which is fantastic for her, but again, you have to make those specific type of requirements. Stuff like having anti-divine to increase damage like that, he obviously doesn't have anything like that, but it also makes him very simple because you don't have to worry about it, because you know his damage is always going to be kind of consistent through it all, and you don't have to worry, oh, I need someone of the earth to do full damage. The other thing he has is that he does not have a party focus. If you want a berserker who's more party focused, you want to go with Morgan, who can provide a little bit more to the team. Arjuna Alter is very greedy. You buff him because you are using him, and then if you're not doing that, then I guess you're just not using him correctly. And I could go on and continue to talk about how good he is, but he just is that unit. He's fantastic. If you're an early kind of build for it, at MP1 he should be able to help you with a lot of stuff, and then with some correct movability, I don't think he can do every single plus node, but you can probably do a good portion of them. The nice thing about plus nodes, which if you don't know, those are the hardest farm nodes that typically do. Not every unit can do it because you want to usually make sure that you can deal the most damage to the enemy and stuff like that. Arjuna Alter can definitely do some of them even at MP level 1, but obviously not every unit can do that, and sometimes he won't be able to do it. But if you can, there's a very easy solution to that. You can either give him more levels, give him golden foe, try to get that damage squeaked out that way, or you can just simply get more NP copies, because even at MP2, that's at 100% increase doing all the extra damage there, and that will be pretty solid if you can get him to MP level 2 and stuff like that. So he's a unit that you know for a fact he's going to be strong for a good portion of the game. He's still used even now in JP. Not saying that he's probably the strongest in the world in there, but he's obviously still a top contender for how much damage he can do and how easy he can do it. I think there's still a place in games in general for very easy units to understand. There's not much that you really need to put more thought and effort into Arjuna Alter. He is what he is. He is the price on the can of the Arizona iced tea. You look at him and you understand completely what he's here for. He's here to kill people. He hurts people. He's the Hurt Syndicate from AEW. It's that simple. There's no need to like think out a master plan with him. And I guess another side kind of negative is that if you are facing against someone who is able to stop debuffs, it means that you are not going to be able to get that additional 50% damage, which can be a little bit of a pain in the ass if you really need that damage or you're going against a very specific fight. But again, doesn't happen too often, but it is still something to kind of keep in mind when you are using him. So that is Arjuna Alter. I already assume a lot of people are going to be going for her. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Melu that is going to be coming up in 2 days. But if you're not going for Arjuna Alter, it's likely because you don't need a Buster unit, and you're saving for a unit that you care about more, or is of equal kind of like just strongness. For example, a lot of people are waiting for Melusane, who is going to be coming up pretty soon. Probably in Japan, it was 2 days after the event was announced. Melu came out, so I would expect the announcement for the next download celebration to happen pretty soon. If it doesn't happen, it means they're likely holding off on it for a bit. Which, okay, if that's their prerogative for it, they can do that, I suppose. So obviously, if there are units that you care about more than Arjuna Alter, I would suggest obviously keep saving for your faves. And if you're someone who's like, well, I would really like to summon for Arjuna Alter, but I don't want to go too crazy, is it worth doing at least a single multi? If you can afford it, honestly, yeah, I would try it. That's how I got my Arjuna Alter, I think. I just kind of did a summon, did a one multi. I said, you know, I have some stuff to spare. I'm going to go for it. I went for it, and it worked out. I'm not saying that always happens, but I also can't stand there and say, like, don't do this when I specifically did it and benefit from it. I think it's best, as always, like I always say, look at your account, figure out if it's worth it for you to summon, whether or not you're someone who's a new player who wants a shiny new toy that you know for a fact is going to be really strong and then give you motivation to start going for other Buster type units like Vitch, Merlin, and others down the line, and the eventual free-to-play Liz, actually, over on JP that is like 2 years away. That is definitely a path to go to, but again, if you already have a solid idea of what you want to do, don't be tempted if you cannot afford to actually go for it. And for the people waiting for Melu, there is not enough time for you to probably do both. But his banner will be here for at least a week, so if you're waiting for Melu, you may as well just do your Melu summons. And if you get her early and you're like, oh man, I have some Saint Quartz to spare, you can either go for more copies of her or go over for Arjuna Alter. They're both fantastic Buster units. It all comes down to preference at this point. Thankfully, FGO is such a game that you're able to use a lot of units and be okay with a lot of things, especially the super strong ones. But anyway, that's it for today's video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. It's good to be back. I took a break after finishing the 13 Nights of Halloween, because it hit October 31st, and then I said, well, I think I have to do the Grail stuff for this event because it ends on November 4th. But then I said, you know what, I'm honestly just gonna take a break, play some games, enjoy these next 2 days, and you know, I'll do a stream where I do the entire thing because I need to have a single day for it, and I think it's better to probably stream it than to actually sit down and do all the recording. Just finish it all in one tough go and be done with it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. As always, you can leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It does help out the channel a whole bunch. I'll be going back to a normal rhythm pretty soon, which is doing some FGO stuff and then doing some other games that I so care about Uma and ZZZ. There's a new ZZZ banner coming up pretty soon, so of course I'm going to be summoning on that. I really did have to focus down for 13 Nights of Halloween. I could not put it in my mind to do both the Go 13 Nights and then the other games that I like to play a whole bunch. But anyway, that's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, peace out, and bye-bye.